Hey, so today I want to look at Adobe. Before I get started, if anyone has an opinion on Adobe, please feel free to share that in the comments below. I'd be very interested in that. I'm just doing a very brief technical analysis of it, and then as I kind of continue following them, I'll be able to track more insightful things. But for right now, we're just strictly looking at the numbers. And so right now we do have their chart on the screen, and I also have a spreadsheet off on the side that I'll share towards the end, that we'll just kind of keep track as we go. So currently it's 344, and if you're unfamiliar with what we're doing, uh, I do have a handful of stocks. I'm not sure how many exactly, maybe like 50, close to, maybe not 50, but maybe like 40. It's there's a fair amount, and we're just kind of going through all of them right now just to get a baseline on what to expect. And so right now, all we're doing for them is more or less putting down a 5 line system. And this system for me is the black lines are going to be the ultimate peak and valley for each stock, and so that's what's been marked out. We have this uh, ultimate low for them at 272, and its peak was at about 697. And so if I'm looking for a buy point, which is going to be our green line, um, honestly, just at a brief moment, I would say about 324 would be my buy point, and it has potential to come back below that line. But there does seem to be a more recent um, support line there. Of course, it did drop below that line back in September of 22. It took a little bit of time to get above that, but once it got above that in November of 22, it just danced around that line for a little over a month, and then it started going up. It pulled back. It did drop just slightly, maybe about $4 to $5 below that line, and then immediately popped back up. So that does seem to be a nice buy point. It's about $20 above that. In terms of a a sell point, at least today, and we're gonna make this line red for us. Sell point, like the first initial sell point, I would say is right around 442. Uh, and so ideally, how we would treat a stock like this is we'd be able to grab, say, 1 or 2 shares, depending on how much uh, money you have on the side to buy something. But just at its most simplest form, the idea would be, if we can catch this one at, say, 324, that low, that buy mark, we would buy, say, 2 there. And if we can hold on to it long enough to where it gets closer to 442, we would sell at least one of those shares, make our money there, and if it pulls back, we'd be able to add on more. And the thinking is, if we keep one and it continues to rise to, say, like 500 or 550, hits another sell point, then okay, we would sell it then. And that's kind of like a judgment call, but that's kind of the reason why we would keep that one share, uh, is in case it would kind of uh, overextend itself beyond our expectations. And so we're going to add in one more line before wrapping this up. And this is kind of like the fair value line. What do I see as like, um, just a mark that seems like it danced around this point a couple times. And I'm going to stick with 379. Um, and the reason I'm sticking with that, at least just at a glance, is because it seemed like prior to the crash in 2020, that was a resistance line. back in the second month of 2020. Um, Clearly, it did go above that, and we met like all-time highs. Came back down. It acted like a support line very briefly in the fifth month of 22, and then it kind of just danced around it for about a month. That fair value line kind of danced around it again for a couple weeks here in September of 22, and then it just plummeted. So clearly, they must have had bad earnings in the third quarter or second quarter, and yeah, they just fell through the floor. And then again, we're seeing resistance at 379. So that might be like an intermediary type of sell point. So like this one has a wide range. So something that uh, we could consider, at least me, what I would might consider is if I can get this one at 324. Um, I don't know if it's enough profit, but if we're watching this one closely and we're seeing it fluctuate on a more consistent basis, an idea is that we would buy, say, 3 shares at 324. If it hits that 379, 380 mark, we would sell one. If it keeps rising, we'll hold until it gets to close to like 440 and then sell another one. And then alternatively, if it comes back down, maybe we would buy again at three. I think you understand where I'm going with this. So that's kind of the thought process with this one. I like kind of where it's at, so I'll save this. Uh, and this is ADBE, that's Adobe's symbol. And so if we go over here to our tracker, Adobe's down here. I plugged in what its current value, its buy point, and its sell point. I guess I would say it's kind of getting close to a buy point. It's not there yet, but it's getting close. So I'm gonna mark that one out, and I put in today's date for us. Uh, I'm just gonna I'm gonna try to uh, push out as many videos as I can. So I think we're gonna try to wrap up the value stocks. We'll take on these indexes, and then we'll try to do the hype stocks just so I can get them that first initial cycle through, and then we can start looking into them a little more depth. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes. But that's kind of the thinking right now. We'll see how it goes for the rest of today and tonight. Um, but yeah, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.